Hey guys, welcome back to Midnight Movie. Gonna start the show a little differently this week. As of time of recording, what is the day? It is Wednesday, August 26th, and as of time of recording, we have lost not one, but two major talents in the world of entertainment. One, of course, the great Dolly Parton, woman who I think is truly if the United States of America has a patron saint, it is Dolly Parton. She was maybe one of the brightest lights in entertainment. That woman she would light up a room. She was funny. She was beautiful. She had an incredible heart. She had a lightning quick mind. Her wit. I loved watching her tell any type of story on anyone's show. She could warm your heart. She could make you laugh. And she is going to be sorely missed because, man, they don't make them like her anymore. Rest in peace, Ms. Dolly Parton. And the second, I just got news of this morning, so I changed up the movies that I was going to be reviewing for the next couple episodes. This is episode 99, and I had a certain set of movies planned out to go to number 100, but today's loss inspired me to cover a specific movie, specifically because of the loss of the great Tim Curry. Tim Curry, if one exists, he is the consummate actor. If you don't know who this guy is, you need to make time to watch this guy's entire filmography. The depth and breadth of roles, his range as an actor is just remarkable. I can't think of someone outside of, there's a handful of folks out there that really get a chance to flex their skills with regard to so much character acting. And Tim Curry is one of my favorites. This is a guy who's literally been around in my life since I was a little kid. First time I think I saw him, and I didn't know that I saw him when I saw this movie. There's a movie which we're going to be reviewing today, right now. A movie called Legend from 1985. This is really the forgotten masterpiece of Ridley Scott. No one talks about this movie. They talk about Blade Runner. They talk about all of his other films, but nobody talks about Legend, which I guess didn't do too well. It was a $25 million budget in 1985, made $23.5 million at the box office. There's two cuts of the movie, one with a Tangerine Dream soundtrack for the U.S. market, and then a Jerry Goldsmith, I believe, track and score for Europe. I've only ever seen the Tangerine Dream version. I saw this movie when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and it was just so much fun and really beautiful. And I literally just a few minutes ago finished rewatching it again, maybe the 5th time in my life. It's not a movie that I return to a lot. It is a movie that in recent years I have gone back to because of wanting to study all of Ridley's filmography and his work, so prolific. But what really, for me, makes this movie, outside of Ridley's incredible directing, the cinematography, the beautiful cast of Tom Cruise and Sara as Jack and Princess Lily, the incredible practical effects by Rob Bottin, who was just a legend in makeup effects across the past 40 years, is Mr. Curry himself, Tim Curry, as the Lord of Darkness. This has to be, for my money, one of the best portrayals of the devil that I've ever seen. Obviously, there are movies like The Exorcist. You don't actually quite see the devil. That's really scary. But in terms of like your classic horned, red-skinned, yellow-eyed devil, Tim Curry's Lord of Darkness is just, it has to be seen, to be believed and to be enjoyed. This film really does a beautiful job of balancing dark and light, good and evil. And I don't know who else could have played this character besides Tim Curry. And he does so beautifully, covered in makeup and effects. I think it was only maybe 10 or 15 years ago that I learned that it was Tim Curry in this role because he's completely covered. in Raboutin's incredible makeup. He's got these gigantic black horns and this sort of deep fire engine red skin, and man, it's like it could be anyone under there, but it's not just anyone. It's Tim Curry. And the thrust of the movie is you're in sort of like a fantasy world. And in general, I hate the fantasy genre. I've never been into wizards and knights and princesses and all that. It never really does much for me. I don't think it's just not for me. However, this movie is the exception because it is so beautifully done. And I think that that's a testament to the production, to Ridley's vision, again, the cinematography, all of the set decorators, the technicians, and certainly the cast, to take someone like me who just doesn't like fantasy, dark fantasy, wizards and witches. I don't care. And draw me in and, grab me at like 7 or 8 years old and hold me for decades. And that's what they did. It's essentially sort of a simple narrative of there being this Princess Lily who loves to dwell in the forest. She likes to be with the quote unquote, I guess you could call them common people. She has, some friends, but she's really there for a young man named Jack, played by a young Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise at this point, I think, had done Risky Business. He had done Taps. He was well on his way to being the movie star we all know that he is. Watching his performance, you just look at this guy and you're like, oh yeah, you had it from the beginning. And obviously, like Tom does, he sells it and you believe every bit of it. He plays Jack, and Lily, who is some type of royalty, she's some type of nobility, really loves Jack, and Jack loves her. They don't really delve into, can they be together or whatnot. They don't really get into that too much. You just know that they're two beautiful, happy, innocent young people that love each other and are enjoying each other in the forest. Jack seems to have this ability to communicate with animals. He's cuddling with a fawn at one point. He can talk to birds. It's really pretty cool. He's kind of like the Aquaman of the land, if you will. And of course, he and Lily spend their time in the forest. They're running, they're playing hide and seek, they're laughing, just having a great time. And Ridley has basically set the stage for this is a time of innocence. But of course, as we all age, when we are no longer children, we learn that there isn't just light and good in the world, there's also dark and there's evil. And there's a moment where you have these two unicorns that appear, and in this world, of course, the unicorns are the purest, some of the purest and most sacred animals in the universe. And Jack explains to Lily that they are made of love and laughter. That's what they experience, and they know no dark thoughts. So they're completely pure. They are light, sort of embodied. Lily is transfixed by these incredibly beautiful, bright, beautiful animals, and she wants to get a closer look. And she doesn't want to get just a closer look. She wants to touch them. And I guess that's something you're not supposed to do in this world. Those are the rules. You admire them from afar, you look at them, but you leave them alone. While all this is going on, the Lord of Darkness, played by the incomparable Tim Curry, is plotting. He cannot come up in the daylight. He cannot exist during the day. And of course, being the devil, he wants to conquer the world, and he wants to wipe out all light and all good. He has sent his sort of goblin lieutenants to help him execute a plan to ensure that when darkness falls, it falls forever, and there is no dawn. And the key to that is to kill the unicorns. So he sends his goblin lieutenants to achieve this. And Lily, not knowing what she's doing, she just wants to get close to these beautiful unicorn. And by so doing, they don't see that there's these goblins waiting in the wings with poison arrows, and they're just sort of waiting for her to get closer and sort of lead them out. And once they do, one of the goblins shoots one of the unicorn with a poison arrow, and they start to run away. And it's this moment where in this world, innocence, sort of pure innocence, shatters, and darkness falls. And now we're in a world where there is good and bad, light and dark. And the entirety of the rest of the film is Lily sort of fighting a sort of long game seduction by the Lord of Darkness. He sees her, he falls in love with her, he's attracted to the purity of her soul, but what he really wants to do is he wants to make her as evil as him. This is what evil does. It's not just, he doesn't want to just make nightfall forever, a eternity of darkness. He wants to be able to take that which is pure and sully it. And that's what Lily is. And so she's slowly drawn into his web, all the while Jack, working with his sort of woodland forest friends, some look like elves, some look like fairies, some have bows and arrow just like him. They sort of arm up and sort of build kind of a little militia, army, whatever. And the entirety of their goal now is to try to get Lily back, to try to save the unicorn, because they can't allow the Lord of Darkness to destroy the unicorn, because if he does, that's it. It's darkness forever. This movie is, again, while simplistic and familiar in terms of its fantasy element, is beautifully executed. I don't need a super complex plot. I don't need ultra complex or ultra sophisticated characters necessarily to enjoy a film. And that's what this movie does. You know, it's not any specific fairy tale that you know, but it's sort of bits of it. I was realizing as I was watching it just now that you kind of only really see Jack and Lily, and they're in this pristine land of just pure innocence and joy and love and laughter. It's very, very Garden of Eden, very Adam and Eve. It's not completely. You do have, I think, maybe one or two common people that Lily interacts with before she goes and sees Jack. So it is clear that there are other people on Earth. It's not a straight Dawn of Time, Genesis kind of story. But the focus is definitely on Lily and Jack's friends and nature. And of course, this incredible villain of Tim Curry playing the Lord of Darkness. This movie really reminds me, it has a tactile feel like Blade Runner did. It almost feels like they shot Blade Runner on Monday and then they shot Legend on Wednesday or Thursday. I don't believe it's the same cinematographer. I think Roger Deakins did. I believe Roger Deakins did Blade Runner. I might be wrong. Please correct me below in the comments. But it looks so tactile and real, even though they're all sets. There are clearly, I'm sure, painted backgrounds, but everything seems to have been built. There's only maybe one or two moments where I think Industrial Light and Magic might have been involved. And that is the Lord of Darkness, again, played by the great Tim Curry, has maybe one of the most incredible entrances into a film that I've ever seen. When he finally sort of reveals himself to Lily, his entrance is unbelievable. I've never seen an entrance like this in film since. I would love to see someone just take that. Again, you need, in order for heroism and heroics and good to really work in a film, you've got to have a great villain. And something that I do think that has kind of been lost in sort of, we've sort of muddied good and evil. We've really been in this fascination with anti-heroes for a long time in cinema. And I'm not saying there isn't a place for them. There's a place for Wolverine. There's a place for the Punisher. There's a place for some of the different types of Western characters that, say, Clint Eastwood played. But I don't want all my heroes to be like that. I want actual, genuine, heroic heroes. And clearly the box office for The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day have proven to me that you do too, which is great. Super healthy for the culture. Anyways, Tim Curry really just gives us a classic villain in The Lord of Darkness, which is a perfect foil and just a perfect offset to the purity and the heroism of Jack, of Lily, of their friends. And it's just really refreshing to see. As much as I really love and I'm really encouraged by the success of movies like Obsession and Backrooms, I'm so glad that two lower budget indie films made hundreds of millions of dollars up against a a Star Wars film that should have been the one that to take it, take away the box office. That's really healthy for the film industry. It's really healthy for independent artists such as myself, us fledgling filmmakers. That's all really great. But I'm glad we also got a big boost from The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. There's a real thirst for actual heroic heroes as well. Awesome. That's what the movie gives us. What Legend 1985, directed by Ridley Scott and starring Tim Curry, Tom Cruise, and Mia Sara. That's what it gives us. Again, why this movie isn't a bigger deal and more floated around in even in cinephile circles like myself. I never hear this movie mentioned, and it's flawless. I put it right next to Blade Runner and Alien. These magnificent masterpieces of Ridley Scott. Why it sort of sits off to the side, I'm not really sure, but we should change that. This movie is a true cult classic. Again, didn't do well in the theaters in 1985. The 80s were loaded down with a lot of great films, so I'm not sure what it might have been up against, but for whatever reason it didn't work. But like other great works, there was a critical reappraisal starting in the video stores in the 80s and 90s. I saw this movie as a kid on cable, I think, first, and then would maybe rent it a couple times thereafter. But this is a movie that really deserves to be watched. And in light of the loss of the great Tim Curry, I got to keep bringing it back to him. You guys should watch this movie. It's not just a great movie. It's not just a pure film. It's not a great dark fantasy movie, classic, good versus evil. It's just beautiful to watch. I would pause a couple times and rewind just to look at some of the sets, just to look at some of the backgrounds, and realizing, man, if that is a painted background, that is impeccable, because I can't tell the difference. Having come off of my last episode where I reviewed the 100% AI film Hellgrind, now going and watching this completely tactile, built, practical effects film in Legend. It just drives home the point to me that practical effects, real life actors are always going to be better, and they're always going to win. There is a soul and a heart to the craft of this movie, Legend, like there was in Blade Runner, like there was in Alien, that no computer program is ever going to be able to replicate. And I know AI, yes, it will continue to get better. That's great. Difference is, what loses me is, again, I'll watch an AI film, this last one, and again be transfixed by some of the acting and performances, and then I realize, wait, I'm never going to be able to watch an interview with this gal or this guy, and it really just harms my enjoyment of it. Whereas I can buy the Blu-ray of Legend and I can watch interviews with Ridley, with Mia, with Tom, with Tim Curry, with Rob Bottin. I can watch the making of, and all these featurettes that really inspire me, not just as a fledgling filmmaker, but just as a human being. And I think good art, which we really need more of, should do that. It should inspire. And that's not to take away from the achievement that Hellgrind as a film is. There's still work, and it's a different type of work that goes into making something like that. But I don't regard it as a film. It's something else. I don't know if we have to create a new classification for that or not, but Legend 1985 is a true film. It is beautiful. I know it was made by people. I've followed the people's careers who are in this film, and again, maybe one of the all-time best villain roles ever played by Tim Curry. I used to do something on this channel where I would, we'd talk, it would be me, or sometimes I would team up with someone where I'd talk about a film, I'd recommend a film that you guys should watch, like Legend, and I would also talk about, okay, what would be the double feature with something like Legend? When it comes to Legend, because we are talking about the unbelievable career of Tim Curry, I can't just give you one other movie to pair it with, because the depth and breadth of this man's acting acumen and his filmography is so deep and so rich So uh, here goes. These are the other movies by the great Tim Curry that you should watch. Start one with Legend. Again, it's a classic, good versus evil sort of fantasy film, brilliantly produced, brilliantly executed. Then move on to one of my other favorites, a movie I saw as a kid where I did recognize and did learn who Tim Curry was, Clue, also from 1985. Or might have been 86, directed by the great John Landis of An American Werewolf in London, and Twilight Zone, the movie, Michael Jackson's Thriller video, a stacked cast. You had Madeline Kahn, you had Martin Mull, you had Michael McKean, just an incredible cast. One of the most fun, sophisticated, dry comedies I've ever seen. I think I really developed my sense of what a great comedy is watching films like Clue. And Tim Curry as Wadsworth the butler, he's just so good because he's so dry and he just lets these other characters kind of make fools of themselves. It's hilarious. It's really just, again, the skill of this guy. He's the Michael Jordan of acting. So Clue, 1985. After that, I would say maybe his cultiest of cult films, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which for the longest time I could not get into this movie. Like it has a massive following. People literally get together a couple times a year to watch this movie in theaters. They dress as the characters. They sing all the songs. I'm not a huge musical guy either, so it took me a long time to come around on this movie. And once I did, I think once I really started delving deep into the study of acting over like the past couple decades, I would be able to sit down with a movie like this and be like, oh, I see what he's doing here. Wow, this is amazing. He plays a character named Dr. Frankenfurter, who is, I don't know if you would call him transgender, someone, clearly maybe a man who does not conform to traditional gender roles as a man. He wears fishnets, he wears a bustier, he wears makeup. This is truly a character and a guy who he does his own thing, but he's also a mad scientist who creates what we would call a monster, but ends up really just looking like a male fitness model. He has lured these two characters, one played by Susan Sarandon, I don't remember the other guy's name, a young couple into his lair, his castle, his laboratory, and these two young people who are kind of square really experience the wild life of Dr. Frankenfurter and his people. And it's sort of like a rock opera musical type of movie. Again, not necessarily my thing, but man, the performance. You watch something like Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter, then you watch him as Wadsworth in Clue, then you watch him in this episode's movie Legend. It's like, how is this the same guy? This guy really transforms. He's akin to Gary Oldman in just the maybe a greater depth and breadth. Not to take away anything from Mr. Oldman, he's one of my favorites, but just wild stuff. One other thing I'll mention in terms of Tim Curry's his body of work, he did a piece in I think the UK in the mid-'80s called Anything Can Happen on Halloween. It's kind of a video featurette / music video dedicated to Halloween and the fun and the spookiness of it. And that's kind of become a cult favorite as well. It pops up a lot on social media now. Anything Can Happen on Halloween. It's a whole song. And I kind of feel like going forward, I'm absolutely going to play that video, that song, every Halloween. Because if there is a king of Halloween, it's definitely Tim Curry. So, yeah, I don't have much more for you on this other than when I heard of Mr. Curry's passing today, I'm like, I know exactly what movie. I could have done Clue, could have done Rocky Horror. Those are more popular movies. I probably would get more of a bump and more views. But for me, again, without knowing it, my first true Tim Curry movie as kid was Legend, and would learn decades later who that Lord of Darkness was. And it is, in fact, the brilliant, consummate, incomparable Mr. Tim Curry. So rest in peace, King. And yeah, if you guys want just a nice break from, I don't know, the outrage cycle of social media and some of the insanity of the news, you can calm your central nervous system with a beautiful piece of cinema that is Legend 1985, the true forgotten masterpiece of Mr. Tim Curry and Ridley Scott. Let me know. Do you know the movie? Have you seen this version? And this is the Tangerine Dream version. Incredible score and soundtrack. Tangerine Dream can do no wrong, in my opinion. I think that they help make the movie. But what do you think? Are you guys as big Tim Curry lovers as I am? Are there other films that maybe of his I should review, talk about? Did you like Legend? Do you even know of this movie? I just, man, I'm always surprised that it just doesn't show up more. But it is a gem, and it deserves to be seen. It deserves to be shared. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And yeah, that is Midnight Movie episode 99, folks. And on to 100. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. And yeah, more fun to come. And I'll see yous in the next one. Bye.